at me, Zainab. I don't know if he will ever forgive me. Zainab frowned. Maybe you should give him time, but don't give up. Aisha, you still love him, don't you? Aisha nodded, her heart aching with the weight of her emotions. I do. More than anything. Then fight for him, Zainab said firmly. But remember, it's not just about apologizing. You need to rebuild his trust. That's not something that happens overnight. While Aisha struggled with her guilt, Malik found himself growing closer to Zainab. It wasn't something he had intended, but as days turned into weeks, he began to see her in a different light. Zainab had always been a supportive friend, and now, in the aftermath of Aisha's betrayal, she became a comforting presence in his life. They spent more time together, mostly by chance at first, running into each other at the market or crossing paths while Malik walked in the fields. Zainab didn't push, but she was always there, listening when Malik needed to talk and offering gentle words of encouragement when he seemed lost in his thoughts. At first, Malik kept his distance, worried of Zainab's role in Aisha's plan, but as time passed, he began to appreciate her honesty. Zainab hadn't forced anything. She had only done what Aisha asked. And now, as they spent more time together, Malik found himself drawn to her in ways he hadn't anticipated. Zainab too noticed the change in their relationship. What had started as uncomfortable tasks for Aisha's sake was now turning into something more. Malik was opening up to her in ways he hadn't before, and Zainab couldn't deny the spark that was growing between them. It wasn't long before the rest of the village began to notice the growing bond between Malik and Zainab. They were often seen together, laughing and talking as if nothing else in the world mattered. Rumors started to spread, whispers of a new romance blooming in the wake of Aisha's downfall. Aisha heard the whispers too, and each one felt like a dagger to her heart. She knew she had pushed Malik away, but seeing him with Zainab was more painful than she had ever imagined. Every time she saw them together, she felt like a fresh wave of regret washed over her. As Malik and Zainab grew closer, the village became divided. Some people believed that Malik had every right to move on. After all, Aisha had betrayed his trust. Others, however, felt sympathy for Aisha, believing she had made a mistake but didn't deserve to lose the man she loved because of it. Aisha felt isolated and trapped in the middle of the gossip and judgment. Everywhere she went, people looked at her with pity and as if she had already lost Malik for good. And maybe deep down she believed they were right. Malik hardly spoken to her since their confrontation, and now he was spending his days with Zainab, laughing, talking, living a life that no longer included her. One evening, Aisha mustered the courage to confront Malik. She couldn't stand by and let Zainab take him without a fight. She found him by the riverbank, sitting alone, staring out at the water. "Malik," she called out softly as she approached. "Can we talk?" Malik turned, his expression unreadable. "What is there to talk about, Aisha?" Aisha's heart raced as she sat beside him. "I know I hurt you. I know what I did was wrong, but I still love you, Malik. I never stopped loving you." Malik sighed, his gaze shifting back to the river. "You say you love me, but you didn't trust me, Aisha. You put me through a test I never asked for it. How can I be with someone who doesn't believe me?" Aisha's eyes filled with tears. I made a mistake, Malik. I was insecure and I let that insecurity cloud my judgment. Please give me another chance. But Malik's expressions remain hard. I don't know if I can do that. Things are different now. I've changed, Aisha, and so have you. As Malik and Zainab grew closer, Zainab found herself torn between her feelings for Malik and her loyalty to Aisha. What had started as a simple scheme had turned into something real, something unexpected. Zainab's hadn't meant to fall for Malik, but now she couldn't deny the connection they shared. Still, a sense of guilt lingered. One evening, Zainab sat alone, reflecting on the situation. Could she truly pause Malik knowing how much Aisha still loved him? Would Malik's feelings for her ever be genuine? Or were they a byproduct of Aisha's betrayal? Zainab knew she needed clarity, both herself and for Malik. The next day, she approached him as they walked side by side in the fields. Malik, we need to talk. Malik looked up, sensing the seriousness in her tone. What is it? Zainab hesitated, then took a deep breath. I need to know what we are doing. I didn't plan for any of this, and I'm not sure where we are headed. Malik's expressions softened. He had been thinking about this too. I don't know, Zainab. I've been hurt and you've been there for me, but I don't want to rush into anything without understanding what I'm feeling. Zainab nodded, relief flooding her. I feel the same. I care about you, but I don't want to hurt Aisha. We need to be sure, Malik. Sure that whatever it is real. Malik agreed, and then the two decided to take a step back. They needed time to figure out their feelings without the shadow of Aisha's hanging over them. Aisha wasn't ready to give up. She had made a terrible mistake, but she couldn't let Malik slip away without a fight. She decided to visit his home one evening, determined to pour out her heart and beg for his forgiveness. When she arrived, she found Malik sitting on his porch, looking lost in thought. Aisha's heart ached at the sight of him. He looked different now, more distant, as if a part of him had been closed off of her. Malik, she called softly, stepping closer. Can we talk? Malik glanced up, his face expressionless. What do you want, Aisha? Aisha knelt before him, her hands trembling. I know I hurt you, and I know I've made it hard for you to trust me again. But I'm begging you, Malik, please don't leave me. I love you more than anything. Malik's eyes softened slightly, but there was still a wall between them. Aisha, love isn't just about words, it's about trust, and you broke that trust. Tears streamed down Aisha's face. I know, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to rebuild it. Please give me a chance to prove it, that I have changed. Malik looked away, his heart heavy. He wanted to forgive her. Part of him still loved her deeply, but he wasn't sure if he could. The wound was too fresh and the betrayal too raw. I need time, Aisha, he said quietly. I can't make any promises right now. As the weeks passed, Malik found himself in a state of limbo. He hadn't fully forgiven Aisha, but he also wasn't ready to commit to Zainab. He spent many sleepless nights thinking about what he truly wanted, about the future, and he had imagined with Aisha, and the unexpected feeling he had developed for Zainab. Aisha, on the other hand, threw herself into trying to win back Malik's trust. She visited him regularly, bringing him food, offering to help with his chores, anything to remind him of the life they once shared. But no matter what she did, she couldn't shake that feeling that Malik was slipping away from her. Zainab, meanwhile, kept her distance. She cared for Malik deeply, but she didn't want to come between him and Aisha. She knew Malik needed time to sort out his feelings, and she wasn't willing to push him into making a decision. The village too was abuzed with gossip. Everyone had an opinion on the situation. Some decided with Aisha, some believing she deserved a second chance, while others thought Malik should move on with Zainab, who had proven to be a loyal and caring companion. But for Malik, he decided the decision wasn't so simple. His heart was torn between the woman he had loved for years and the woman who had been there for him during his darkest time. One evening, as the sun set over the village, Zainab made a decision. She couldn't wait in the background any longer, hoping Malik would choose her. It wasn't fair to Aisha, and it wasn't unfair to herself. She needed to take control of her destiny. The next morning, she sought out Malik. She found him by the riverbank, the place where so many of their conversation had taken place. "Malik," she said softly as she approached, "I've made a decision." Malik looked up, surprised by the seriousness in her voice. What is it? Zainab took a deep breath, steadying herself. "I can't keep waiting for you to choose between me and Aisha. It's not right for any of us. I care about you, but I need to step back. You need to figure out what you really want without me complicating things." Malik's heart sank. He hadn't realized how much he had been relying on Zainab's presence, but he knew she was right. He needed to make a decision on his own. "I understand," he said quietly. "Thank you for being honest, Zainab." Zainab nodded, feeling a mixture of sadness and relief. "I will be here if you need me, Malik, but for now, I think it's best if we keep our distance." In the days that followed, Malik spent a lot of time alone, reflecting on his relationships with both women. He thought about Aisha, how much he had loved her and how deeply she had hurt him. But he also thought about the years they had spent together, the memories they had shared, and the love that had once been so strong. He thought about Zainab too, how supportive she had been, how much they had connected in the wake of Aisha's betrayal. But he also knew that their relationship had been born out of his pain, and he wasn't sure if that was enough to build a future on. One evening, as the sun deepened below the horizon, Malik realized something. He still loved Aisha, despite everything, despite the betrayal and the hurt. A part of him couldn't let go of the life they had shared. But if they were going to have any chance of future together, they would need to rebuild their relationship from the ground up. The next day, Malik went to Aisha's home. His heart raced as he knocked on the door, unsure of what he was about to do. Aisha opened the door, her eyes widened with surprise. "Malik," she breathed. "What are you doing here?" Malik took a deep breath. "Aisha, I've been doing a lot of thinking. I won't lie. What you did hurt me deeply. But I've realized that I still love you, and if you're willing to work with me, I think we can rebuild what we've lost." Aisha's eyes filled with tears. "I will do anything, Malik. I love you, and I will never hurt you again. Please give me another chance." Malik nodded, his heart lifting with hope. I'm willing to try, Aisha, but it's going to take time. We need to rebuild the trust between us slowly, day by day. Aisha nodded, her heart full of gratitude. I will do whatever it takes, Malik, I promise. In the weeks that followed, Malik and Aisha began the slow process of rebuilding their relationship. It wasn't easy. There were still moments of doubts, moments when Malik questioned whether he could ever fully trust Aisha again. But each day, they took small steps forward, learning to communicate openly and honestly with each other. Aisha too worked hard to prove her love and loyalty. She knew that it would take time for Malik to fully trust her again, but she was determined to show him that she had changed. Zainab, meanwhile, kept her distance, watching from afar as Malik and Aisha worked on their relationship. She felt a pang of sadness, knowing that she had lost her chance with Malik, but also knew it was the right thing to do. And Aisha and Malik belonged to each other, and Zainab had no desire to come between them. Meanwhile, Zainab had been quietly making plans of her own. She had watched from afar as Malik and Aisha rekindled their relationship, and while she was happy for them, she also knew that it was time for her to move on. One morning, Zainab decided to leave the village. She couldn't stay in a place where she would constantly be reminded of what she had lost. Malik and Aisha's love was strong, and there was no place for her in their story. Before leaving, Zainab paid one final visit to Malik. She found him walking by the river, just as she had many times before. Malik, she called softly, approaching him. He looked up, surprised to see her. Zainab, what are you doing here? Zainab smiled sadly. I came to say goodbye. I've decided to leave the village. It's time for me to start a new chapter in my life. Malik's heart sank. He had grown so close to Zainab, and the thought of her leaving felt like the end of an era. But he knew it was for the best. I'll miss you, Zainab, he quietly said. Zainab nodded. I'll miss you too, Malik, but this is the right thing to do. You and Aisha deserve a fresh start, and I need to find my own path. With that, Zainab left the village, her heart heavy but hopeful for the future. The seasons changed and the village quieted down. Malik began to realize that something was missing. Despite everything they had been through, he had never formally asked Aisha to be his wife. They had always talked about future, but after the betrayal, those plans had been put on hold. One evening, as the sun set over the village, Malik took Aisha by the hand and led her to the riverbank, the same place where their relationship had first begun. Aisha, Malik said softly, kneeling before her, I've forgiven you and I believe we've grown stronger together, but there is something I need to ask you. Aisha's heart raced as she watched him, tears welling up in her eyes. Malik pulled a small ring from his pocket, and he had been saving for this moment. Will you marry me? Will you be my wife and build a life with me? Aisha grasped, tears streaming down her face. Yes, Malik, I will marry you. Malik slipped the ring onto her finger, and as they embraced, the last remnants of doubt and insecurity melted away. Malik and Aisha's wedding was a simple but beautiful affair, attended by the family and friends. The village, once divided by their relationship, came together to celebrate their union. There was laughter, music, and dancing. For the first time in a long while, Malik and Aisha felt truly at peace. As they stood for the village elders, exchanging their vows, they knew their journey had not been easy. They had faced betrayal, doubt, and heartache, But in the end, their love had triumphed. They learned that trust, once broken, could be rebuilt, that and that love was worth fighting for. As the sun sets on their wedding day, Malik stood together watching the stars appear in the sky. They knew that the road ahead wouldn't always be easy, but they were ready to face it. And as they walked hand in hand into the night, they knew that this was the only beginning of their story. Thank you for watching. I hope you find this love story captivating and satisfying. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories. Bye.